building should be up probably by the end of this month. They started excavating the land last week and clearing the trees, so we're moving along pretty good right now.
Right on, nice. I remember when you guys posted, back when you posted that first article, and they were talking about, are you using a historic building, or?
No, it's that's just an old abandoned building that was on the property.
Okay.
So we'll be leasing the building. The owner and his wife are actually starting a winery in a different area.
Oh, okay.
And we went to them looking for whether they wanted to kind of combine forces, or they seeing if they were interested in what we were doing. And he said they weren't really interested in doing mead, but they would help us get started with the building and everything, because they own a lot of land in the area. So it just worked out great for me and Robert. So
yeah, that's really awesome.
So they'll be putting up the building, and they'll be doing all the electrical and all that. He has a contracting company, the landowner.
Oh, okay.
So they'll be doing all the work for us. And we met the other day about where I needed my electrical plugs and my plumbing and all that for the meadery. So he's pretty easy to work with.
It kind of sounds like the gods wanted you to do this sort of thing. I'm a big believer in the universe does align things the way you're supposed to do them. I don't know what I believe in beyond that, but I really think that if you were meant to do something, the pieces will come together. No,
I definitely agree with that statement.
So
it just seems like things are coming into place for us now. For a while, it was taking forever to get anywhere. We couldn't convince county council and the zoning board what we were doing, and they were trying to tell us we were opening a brewery, and I said, no, I'm opening a winery. But
jeez. Well, and it's really... Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it took 8 months to get through county council.
Oh, my gosh.
So that's one of the reasons we're kind of behind. So
yeah. Well, and it's interesting. Because isn't Delaware the state that talks about how fabulous they are a place to incorporate because, we're so easy and everything?
Yeah, but they're not very business-friendly as they claim to be.
Well, especially if you live there, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, business-friendly to people who don't live there.
Yeah. Corporations.
Yeah. Well, I would say that was when I incorporated my company. That was one of the things I looked at, and in the end, it came down to might as well do it in North Carolina because they basically penalize the crap out of you if you don't incorporate here. So, yeah, they made it very clear that you could go ahead and do that if you want, but you'll pay 3 times as much in taxes and fees and whatever else we can find. So, yeah.
I'm amused that you started out with the lemon sema, because I actually grabbed that recipe off of Got Mead and I made it for my in-laws one summer.
Yeah, I actually, a teacher of mine in high school was talking about it, and I went to the library and I found it, and it was like an old Scandinavian cookbook, and it had sugar, and I think it was brown sugar and regular sugar, but I ended up putting some honey in it because I figured, well, it says mead, it should probably have some honey in it. And it was raisins and baker's yeast and lemons. It was pretty simple, low alcohol. It was done fermenting in a couple days, and then you had to bottle it, and you put 3 raisins in each bottle, and when the raisins floated to the top, it was carbonated.
Yep.
So it was pretty interesting little recipe.
It sounds yummy. I might have to check that out. I mean, I've got a bunch of friends that love it every time I make limoncello. And that are just lemon fans, they like anything lemony.
It's a lot. A lot like a hard lemonade.
Ooh, well, you totally got my attention now.
Well, in Finland they serve it to children. So it's for May Day, they call it Vapu Day in Finland, and they serve it to the kids because it's it's like a quick mead.
Okay, so it kind of serves the purpose of small beer did back in the day.
Yeah, exactly.
Actually, it's kind of bridging the gap between small beer and soft drink back when they used yeast to carbonate soft drink.
Okay, makes good sense. I like it. Well, I mean, you still do that with ginger ale. I mean, I do ginger ale making demos for the living history stuff that I do. And Yeah, that's it. Now I'm gonna have to add SEMA to my list of stuff to do. I hadn't thought of that one, and I know I've come across it because I come from Germans and Finns. You know, on my father's side, yeah. So my mom's people are Scots, but my father's people are Germans and Finns with a couple of English thrown in, just to keep things interesting. But yeah, there's a lot of Nordic on that side of my family. Let's just put it this way: all my cousins, we were all blonde, every single one of us, all of us. Yeah. So yeah, it was pretty obvious there was definitely some Nordic happening there. So yeah, I mean, I'm curious. I mean, you started making mead 20 years ago, and then how did you end up at Dogfish Head? Not that going into a brewery, but just how did you end up going there? Was it because you were wanting to learn, or was it just because the job was open and that looked neat?
Well, I started homebrewing. I mean, for real homebrewing in like '96. So it was right after I graduated.
Okay, you didn't waste any time. I was like, all right, 5, 4, 3, 2. I'm legal. Let's.
Well, my parents were always pretty, good about that stuff. They're like, if you want to have a beer or a glass of wine and you're at home, that's fine. Don't go out drinking.
That's my opinion. Yeah.
Yeah, because my mom's family's all Italian and Serbian, so there was always wine and slivovitz and all that kind of stuff at family gatherings. And like I said, my grandparents made wine and beer, so I kind of grew up around it. But in '96 I started homebrewing, started making beer. I was using like Charlie Papazian's book, The Complete Joy of Homebrewing.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Bark Shack ginger mead.
Yeah, that was the first. Yep, that was the first recipe I made.
That was my second recipe, I think.
And it came out pretty good. Even back then I took the corn sugar out of the recipe and just used all honey in it.
Yeah, I did too.
Yeah.
I was like corn sugar, ewy.
Yeah. And then I think I made his like sweet mead recipe that was in the book. And I'm young, so I didn't have a lot of money to buy honey, so it was like every week when I go to the grocery store, I'd pick up a couple pounds of honey so I could end up with 15 pounds of honey to make this recipe. But those were my two first, and then I had started just like homebrewing all the time, like at least once a week I was making a beer, and like twice a month I was making a batch of mead.
Oh my gosh.
Then, yeah.
I'd have like 2 or 3 meads going at any given time back when I first got started. I mean, literally, it was the I would be going 198, 199, crap. Yeah, 2 adults in the building, Only so many gallons. Yeah.
Yeah, but if you drink them, they never know you made
young guy friends.
Well, yeah. Well, that was I was doing Renaissance festivals a lot, so I was going to 5 and 6 fairs a year, and of course, I got to where everybody knew that I always traveled with at least a case of mead. I didn't have any trouble getting rid of it.
No, not at all.
Mm-mm.
Well, like 2004, I ended up moving to Delaware. I was dating a girl that was moving here, so I kind of
followed a girl to Delaware.
Always a woman.
Yeah, it's always a woman.
It's always a woman. So we ended up moving here, and we stayed with some friends for a while. And I was working at Ace Hardware at the time, and I put a resume in at Dogfish Head. I had worked at a little winery in Ohio, and I used to help out at the homebrew store quite a bit, and they liked my resume. So I mean, I knew how to move hoses, and I could work pumps. I knew how to clean a fermenter and all that stuff. So they hired me in as a cellarman.
Okay.
And I just kind of worked my way up from there. So I've learned a lot working there.
Oh, I'll bet.
They're one of the top breweries in the United States, one of the biggest craft breweries at the moment. So.
Yeah, well, not to mention the fact that one of the more innovative too. They were one of the ones that started, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, but they were one of the ones that I think really widened the road for getting off the beaten path. Going sideways into. I mean, when they came out with Midas Touch, I was just like, holy crap, check that shit out. I just thought that was the coolest thing ever.
Yeah, it's still one of our biggest sellers.
Oh, I'm not surprised. It's good, But I mean,
Yeah.
I love that.
It's like beer, mead, and wine all together.
Yeah, I got one of the things that's on my list of things to do is to see if I can actually get Sam on the phone and see if he'll give me an introduction to Dr. McGovern, because I'd really love to have him come on the show, because he's sort of the booze archaeologist,
Well, he's at the brewery every so often. Maybe I'll ask him to get a hold of you.
Oh my God, that would be awesome. Because I can email him, but he doesn't know me from Adam. So if I could get an intro or some sort of step up with somebody that he's familiar with, that would be a big help. I did email Charlie Papazian, and he got back to me. He was on the road for a while, but I got to follow up with him. But I'm hoping to have him in the next series. So kind of excited. Well, actually, really excited about that.
Yeah, we're like total fangirls.
Oh my God, yeah, we're like squeeing and doing the "we're not worthy" thing, because Charlie Papazian.
Charlie Papazian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like Randolph Scott, Oh.
A few years ago, they were having that Savor beer event in D.C., and Charlie came out to the brewery, and I got to give him a tour around the brewery.
Nice.
'Cause he wanted to see all the the stuff that they don't really show you on the tour. So I got him some samples out of some of the oak barrels, and he really appreciated that. Charlie's a good guy.
I've heard that he's just a really easygoing guy. I mean, I've not met him.
He's real quiet and laid back. Yeah.
Well, yeah, and that's what I've been told. I mean, Julia Hers has known him for a long time, and she's the one that she's like, just email him. He's a great guy, So imagine my utter shock when I get this email back, going, sure, yeah, I'd love to. Just get up with me, and when I get back, I'm like, okay. Totally fangirling. Squee, just a little bit. But yeah, I've got some big fish that I want to get on the show like that, Charlie, and I'd like to have Sam on the show just because he's fun, And I'm reading his book right now, so and when everything I've seen there is just like I love the way he thinks,
Yeah, he's been a good guy to work for. So I've learned a lot about him, as far as beer and getting into the business world of alcoholic beverages. So.
Oh, I'll bet.
Yeah, definitely a big influence on me.
So when did you? I mean, were you always planning to open your own place, or did that just sort of evolve over time?
Well, I had been here after moving to Delaware. I had been here like 5 years, and I was like, I really want to open my own meadery. And it just wasn't in the cards then. The laws were different, and because they wanted you to own like 5 acres of land to have the meadery on, because you were under a farm winery permit. And I was like, well, because I was just going to do it on my property, and I was like, well, I don't really have 5 acres, and I don't really want to buy 5 acres of land. So I just kind of put it on the back burner for a while, and then a few years after that, I ended up, me and my wife Jennifer had met, and I had talked about it with her, and then we got into looking, to start the meadery up, and life happens. You just put your priorities in other places, and so it kind of just fell through again, and then. One of my coworkers, Robert, we call him JR, Robert Walker, and I had told him I'd always want to open, meadery, and he was like, well, what's stopping you? And I was like, well, I work shifts at the brewery, I don't really have time to do all this stuff, and he was like, well, what if I help you? I said, you'd be willing to do that? And he says, well, yeah. He says, he's kind of very business-minded, so he's always wanted to, either help start a business or, own a business of his own. So he's like, why don't we team up and see what we can come up with? So we had a bunch of meetings, and I started kind of showing him the mead world and teaching him stuff about, brewing and mead making, and kind of got him involved in a few groups and stuff so he could learn things. And it just kind of, it's just been kind of going from there. And kind of where we're at now, but he's been a great help to me. So he's been dealing with all the business stuff that I can't do while I'm sleeping on third shift, so he takes care of that kind of stuff for me. So we make a good team, and we're kind of very similar. He kind of is into the Viking stuff and, you know, mythology and all that sort of thing. So it's just, you know, we're just a good team.